the music of a youthful community. And it kind of had the same attitude that they wanted to latch onto. And it was the popular genre of the day. These days, and I know a lot of people don't keep up with this kind of stuff, but these days, the most streamed genre in the world is hip hop. So for people who have concerns about hip hop, it is the majority form of music that's being consumed right now. So because of that, it only makes sense that they reach out into hip hop spaces. And that's why you're seeing so many hip hop collaborations and the like, because it is the most downloaded and consumed genre of music right now. It is. Should that change? You'll see change. That's just kind of how that goes. So, with that said, we won't dig into every match that happened because this will turn into an NXT recap show. But we have to start with a couple of things. First, let's start with the presence of Triple H and Shawn Michaels DX reuniting on camera, which should tell you just how significant this NXT premiere was. And we started
beautiful.
The match that I honestly thought was going to be the main event. Julia and Roxanne. And I still am looking through the chats because I'm somehow expecting, since we've mentioned Julia's name, Cindy'll to show up at some point. Let's go ahead because this was such a big match and highly anticipated match. Let's get your thoughts. And honey, I thought of you as this match came to a close. What did you think of this match between Julia and Roxanne?
I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that this was the opener. I would have thought it would have also made it evented as well. I have to agree with you on that. But considering the clinic that these two women put on last night, I don't care what. I mean, I love everything else that happened afterwards as well. But this match was the match of the night. There was just lots of back and forth, and Roxanne just like came and showed up. Julia did her thing. Like I was very, very happy with the way this match was going down and how well they were just countering everything they were trying to give to each other. They were going at it, and it was just awesome. Not to mention the return of Cora Jade, which I have been saying would be happening for quite some time. I was not expecting the alliance route with Roxanne, and I kind of like it, and I'm here for it, and I'm just happy she's back, and she's healthy and ready to go. She looks great, and I mean, I thought I was the one that said that we were putting Roxy over in a big way, considering Julia's coming at her now. Stephanie McCour's on the other side of the pond waiting for her, and now go ahead, Roxanne, do your thing, girl, do your thing. Julia, you killed it. But Roxanne, like I was just thoroughly happy with the way this match was. It made me smile. Like I was in it from beginning to end, and they were so good. These women, yeah, probably one of Roxanne's best matches this year.
Councilman, I know you are itching to have something to say at this moment, so the floor is yours, kind sir.
You know, what do I say? Where do I even start? Where do I even start? First and foremost, let's get this picture. Let's get this picture right. Let's get a real picture in here where we see my client shining in all her. Look at that. Does this not represent then the old NXT title? Now Roxanne in the middle, and whatever the next line is, forever with this new NXT title together. This is the epitome of what that line states, man. As I said, I was stressed before this match was coming. We had a mountain to climb, never wavered. I believed in my client. The Pereziacs were behind her. And I just want to say to all of you doubters, Booker T, you one of them, because I heard you in that match. You was not behind our prodigy at NXT on the CW. I heard it, all right? And we going to talk about that later. But to all the rest of y'all, that was like, oh, Julia's gonna take it. Julia's gonna win. No. And then before I hear it about that, well, we don't know because Cora J got in. Hey, look, honey already throwing out words we don't need to throw out. There's no alliance here.
Yeah.
We didn't know that was gonna happen. We didn't look. What Cora Jade did, that was just Cora Jade doing that to her. Is it my fault that Julia got beef with others? Nah. And we didn't get enough to the match to say who was the definitive winner, because to Honey's point, these ladies was cooking in them 8 minutes that they was working. I know this was their first time in the ring, but it felt like they had been in the ring fighting each other for 10 years. And they were just doing it now here on NXT. Julia put on a show. Roxanne, you can see why she's champ, because you watch her adapt to all of these wrestlers when she steps in the ring, and why she's still standing at the top now. But I told y'all, we got to finish her and this Cora Jade story and go full circle. And just like I thought was going to happen, yeah, you indie people just thought you was just going to come in and get in the front of the line. You really believe Sean when he said that? You just gonna step over all of us and get your title shot? Get your boy back in the line, man. I'm back in her city.
So TK, I want to ask you, knowing obviously you are the creator of this platform, what did it mean to you to see the very first match on broadcast television for NXT be the women's championship?
I feel like, gosh, I was trying to remember now I remember. We're dropping an interview tomorrow, and it's going to be a really interesting interview of who it will be. I'll leave that cliffhanger there. But we were talking about women's wrestling, and it's amazing to see how far we've come. Like when Women's Wrestling Talk started 7 years ago, we weren't seeing like essentially it was a highlight to see Naomi on. And now what we have, and it's like really great, interesting matches. And even to go a little bit further, if you watch our watch along about the Mixed Man documentary and how they talked about women's wrestling and how women's wrestling was portrayed at that time, to see this now have viable, really great matches, and to see, like, if you don't know Roxanne Perez's story, and why they call her the prodigy, this is what she's wanted to do. And she was bred for this. So to see all of that, and for that to be the opener on CW, again, and I've said this a bunch of times too, I've always wanted to be a fly on those type of walls. I wonder what the discussion was. I wonder if there was pushback. I wonder if there wasn't any pushback. I wonder if it was Sean's suggestion. I really wonder how that all came to be, because it was an amazing start. They started with a banger. So really pleased, proud of Roxanne. Yeah. Again, along with what I said with AEW, I'm curious to see how it's all going to play out. It's the same thing with Roxanne. I mean, she's still at NXT, and it's not a knock to NXT, but we have to see how everything's going to go in the next 5 or 10 years. And this is absolutely amazing, where we are right now.
Indeed. Yes.
We have the number. And it looks like NXT on CW clocked 895,000 viewers from 8 o'clock to 10 p.m. For the CW premiere.
That is correct. I was going to get to that, but that's
my bad. I'm so sorry.
No. I'm gonna just throw the agenda out of the window. No, it's all good. So you'd really love to know this, sir, because
WWT and going forward, the Professor Gerard Borner #NXT Bonafide.
No,
I know me. I'll never get tired of seeing it. I know what.
I mean, it's cool. I'm just like, why there?
But, Councilman, he stopped you, and he should have known that NXT Bonafide has it covered. I'm just saying.
Of course, you'd have done all your due diligence and research. I'm like, come on, bro.
You'll be pleased to know that the largest rating of the show happened during the match between Julia and Roxanne, where they brought in 965,000 viewers during that time. So again, shout out to them. I will say this. I know that there were people just online who were still trying to figure out how to watch the CW.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that has impact. Not that this rating is bad at all, because the 895,000 is the best they've done in a solid year. I think that number will increase as people figure out how to watch the CW. I also think that number does not include anybody watching on demand who may not have watched it live, but may have watched in the last 24 to 48 hours. Does not also include how many people may have watched it on the CW app, because it's streaming live or streaming for free on there. And of course, it's going to be on Peacock as well. So those numbers will only increase in terms of the people that are viewing. Also, last night we saw what a way to follow that match with this street fight, which was crazy. Dion, what are your thoughts on Wesley and Zachary Wentz?
That was one of those first matches like that in a long time that I've really enjoyed. They told a really good story through that. I could feel the hate coming through my TV. So that's what I enjoyed about it the most. Like that meteor at the end was like he put everything he had on it. So for me, with that one, I mean, to follow that first one with this and this type of match, again, it's a little bit more than your traditional. It's not your traditional matches, right? But I think it's still there wasn't a bad thing on this card, man. It felt like a pay-per-view or PLE. Sorry.
No, I'll go so far as to say it felt like a takeover, because everything about it felt very, very special. Very, very special. So I'm gonna hand this to Courtney and get your thoughts on this women's match, tag team match involving Lola Vice and I think this will be safe, I hope. And Jada Parker against Fatal Influence. Your thoughts on this match, Candace?
It's a shame the mayor's not here to defend his client. But I'm joking. I know.
Wow.
I'm sure he's in the chat somewhere. If not, he'll see this.
Pretty much Courtney is now comfortable. Welcome,
right.
But well, first off, I didn't like how Jada Parker abandoned her own partner. I was like, geez, I thought at least they would get along, but Jada just abandoned her. Like, okay, bye. But then, of course, we got to see Kaylani, and we knew what happened after that. It was nice to see her pair with Bianca and Jade. It was a nice moment, especially the two that they are the tag team champions. And they did put out a note that said that they were coming. And I said this yesterday during the watch along in the chat. I would not be shocked if Fatal Influence came in during Bad Blood, considering Bianca and Jade are hosting Bad Blood this weekend after that attack last night. So I'm in to see that tag match next week. And that's going to be really fun. And also the match between Lola and Jada, that's going to be a good one as well.
All right. So let's go to this question from Cousin Ron, which says, can we address, before we address, let's prepare to address that. But before we do that.
What's going on? Doctor. I'm done. Cut the show.
I did not mean to do that. I'll go to what I actually meant to do in a second. But can we address this question here? What is it that is planned for Kaylani Jordan to be connected with Jade and Bianca? What are your thoughts on that? And before you give me your thoughts, let's do this.
So take a fake, take a phonograph, no paper, just a Billy for the ride slot. Peace, see you later. What's next? I know you love the way it's going down. What's next? I know you love the way it's going down. What's next? I know you love the way it's going down. What's next? I know you love the way it's going down.
Is here, ladies and gentlemen. We always give him his proper intro. Mayor, how are you, sir?
It must be election season with all these attempts to sully my name, but it's a beautiful Wednesday, you know. It's a beautiful Wednesday. I'm not even going to acknowledge that doctored image of Lola Vice taking a pen. It's clearly AI.
AI.
I don't even know what's going on. I can't.
Well. All right. So what did you think about this match, Mayor? Since you're here, and
this image make me hungry
and
for
this
some
partner
soul food right now.
and
Could go for some yams right now. Some hot steamy
cornbread
yams
in the oven real quick.
Whew. Is that mac and cheese I'm spelling right now too?
Man, with the mac and cheese, the burnt ends.
Woo! Still cheesy, got that sound to it.
Yeah,
I got the sound.
Yeah.
But you know the sound.
So yeah, the match, guys.
Good.
There was a match. Yeah. So I'm just talking about the entrance, but the match, it's a good match. We talked about this on the stream yesterday. I thought the angle they went with, where we're going to kind of get maybe a best of with Jada and Lola, was kind of interesting. We'll see where it goes because they did fight backstage, but I think we see a lot of recycled things. I think we're going to get like a Cesaro, Sheamus type of thing. I think they'll still end up a tag team, but they got to earn their respect for each other. I thought it was a good look for Fatal Attraction to pick up that win. Now, even more so, I thought they had Lola look very well even after Jada
Fatal Influence.
left her. What did I say? Fatal Attraction?
You
did.
Yeah, Fatal Influence. But I still this is probably the biggest surprise of the night with Jade and Bianca. And I think it just means that we're going to get the tag team titles defense finally on NXT. It's been a while. I think people might not like this. I think Fatal Influence has to pick up a victory next week just to make it make sense. So that means Lonnie got to take the pin.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's interesting. Interesting.
I don't know about that.
Very quiet.
I don't know about that.
This is my opinion, not yours. You don't gotta like it.
All right.
Testy around these parts.
TK said everybody was quiet. I'm saying I have to express it. That's my opinion. You don't got to ride with it. It's cool.
I remember when Ced first came on the show, he was quiet and he was polite, and now he's
very classy.
Now he just spicy Ced. Like it's just.
And I blame you for that, TK.
That pin hurt. That pin really hurt, huh?
All these clips that I got to delete every week.
Well, that part. Well, let's quickly move on because we still have a lot of room. Because this right here, amid everything that we saw, and we saw a lot last night, but they snuck this in, which what it clearly appears to be the appearance of Delta and her showing up to NXT at some point in time. There's the rumor that if you were able to see the sign, it was like Highway 10 to the left, Highway 27 to the right, which now is being assumed to be 1027. And that, of course, is Halloween Havoc. Oh, boy. Dion, what's happening with the women's division right now? Now, I mean, we knew of these signings. Knowing of the signings is one thing. Seeing them showing up back to back to back is another thing. What's happening with the women's division in NXT?
HBK is stacking it. Like that women's division is the best women's division in wrestling. And we saw it from that first match and those matches last night. Are they still? This is a question: are they still looking to expand internationally? Because I know NXT UK was done. There was talks about NXT Europe, but even if that doesn't happen, the ability to actually bring them all here and have them on one show, this roster is going to be probably deeper than the guys' roster right now, and they're going to probably have more time on the show, more highlights on the show. So, if we still think that NXT is developmental and they do move up the main roster, it's just going to get better from that division there too. So. An amazing pipeline from NXT to WWE main roster. I mean, Shawn Michaels the women are stacked, man. That roster's stacked, and I'm here for it.
Courtney, your thoughts on what's happening with the women's division right now with the additions of Stephanie Vakor, and now we find out officially Delta is on her way.
I'm taking the words out of Dion's mouth. The women's division is starting to get stacked in NXT. And also, I'm going to be very curious on how it's going to look in the next couple weeks, because the next event is Halloween Havoc. So there's going to be many storylines that are going to be happening within the women's division. It is starting to cook up a little bit, but I think there's going to be a lot more surprises happening in their already stacked women's division.
Yeah, we're going to see. I can't wait to see how Delta inserts herself into the picture and just where everything goes. Fun times in NXT. And of course, the show ends with Trick Williams once again winning the NXT championship. Two-time champion is Trick Williams defeating Ethan Page. TK, your thoughts on Trick Williams' victory?
Wow.
What's
Great
the
profile.
wow? Because I go to you for what?
This ladies first.
Right.
Great profile. I think we all called it. I think when he dropped it, we were really questioning, the fact that because he dropped it right after the CW they announced partner. I might have been before, and I think we were questioning how this is all going to play out. I think it's a really great start to this partnership with CW. It'd be interesting. I'm sure we can find this out, or Bosa, you can check what their demographics are, and if this. I'm really wondering if how they do the storylines for NXT is going to be aligning with the demographics of CW or vice versa. But I think this is a really great start, and congratulations to him. And I wonder now, gone are the days as like, okay, when are they going to go to the main roster? I feel like Dion was saying, this is a viable brand, and they can spend a good amount of time on this. So yeah, it's congratulations to him.
Well said, TK. Well said. Councilman, your what are you?
Hollywood G.
I do not understand. Councilman, your thoughts on Trick Williams as the new NXT champion?
I'm not feeling it.
Come on, man.
Are you kidding me? No way.
Really? You tell.
No way.
Listen.
Yep.
Me and the mayor talked about this yesterday. Am I happy for him as a person and as a wrestler? Yes, I am glad of that. But we're gonna be honest. That match was mid. That match was not great at all. Roxanne and Julia should have closed the show, because this was like this and honey, you're gonna like this. In order for Trick to succeed as champion, he needs to go watch the one thing Bret Hart was great at, and that was telling a story in the ring. Every time I watch him and Ethan, there's no story really being told. And I don't necessarily blame him. I noticed that how they put the rocket on him. He's not had enough time to get himself ready in the ring to tell stories. Because you saw what happened with Pete Dunne. That was a story being told. That had us kept in our seats. When he was taking on Carmelo, it was still showing like Carmelo kind of doing the work and Trick still getting better. I think because of how they put the rocket on him, he didn't have a chance to do so many matches to get that in-ring performance so well. And I think because all they'll have him do is PLEs or like special NXTs. If they really want this to be a significant run, Trick is going to have to pull a Seth Rollins run. Like, we're going to need to see you every Tuesday with this title in hand, putting it on the line, being the workhorse of NXT. And then letting us see you in the ring match all the charisma that you have on the mic, that you have behind this audience, because that part is there. There's no denying that. It's just I don't know if it's just Ethan, as me and the mayor talk about. I don't know if it's just Ethan and maybe that just doesn't gel together, but I need to see more in-ring story. because a lot of the stuff that happens, like with how he won the trick shot and then the pin, that I felt like, okay, that's the first act of this match. Then we get into the nitty gritty of the other ones of like, okay, I don't know who gonna win this, and then it was just kind of like, boop, abrupt champion. Almost to the point where CM Punk didn't really need to be there.
Tell him what you said yesterday about CM Punk.
Wait, what did I say?
That it was a waste of his time.
Oh yeah, it was a waste of his time. I think he wasn't necessary. Like, it brought in for the Chicago people.
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, but that was it. Like, I don't think that necessarily need him to be in that match.
So I think, and I'll obviously give some other people to speak to this. I think, for one, CM Punk's presence there was about Chicago, and also about that season premiere. You know, I think it's like you find ways to insert these people and you publicize it enough so that people will pay attention. I don't think anybody expected CM Punk to get involved. And, you know, so there's that. Now, here's the question that I want to pose to the panel in light of what the councilman just said, because I can go back, certainly in WWE history, and point out a number of champions who were stars, who were not the greatest in-ring performers, but they were stars. So the question that I have is, which is more important from your champion? Is it charisma and connection to the fans, or is it in-ring work? Now, ideally, I know you want both, but if you've got to choose, because we've got champions, Councilman, you have been very vocal about the reason you don't like Bret Hart is because he had no charisma. That's what you've said. Okay. But then you can look at, and I don't want to mention his name, but you have to look at Hulk Hogan, one of the most popular champions of all time. You look at John Cena and John Cena's early championship run, you know, and even toward the end, people had the 5 moves of doom or whatever, right? Cena was far more popular than he was an in-ring performer. So what is more important to you from a champion? Is it charisma and connection with the fans, or is it in-ring performance? Honey, let's start with you.
Ooh, that's a really really good question. I mean, when they're getting in there in the ring, however they're doing it, you know, it's whatever. It depends on who you're looking at. It depends on your perspective. Everybody has their own taste in what they like to see. But as far as me, I've learned to, as I've grown up, I've learned to appreciate in-ring work. But initially, charisma and connection is very, very important. Is just as important, I would say. You know what I mean? I would have to say charisma and connection, only because that's just through and from my experience growing up, and that's how I even fell in love with wrestling in the first place, because of the fact that I did feel a connection, and it didn't matter what superstar it was, whether it was Bret or my favorite or not, but it was just the whole spectacle in itself. You go to those things because of that. You want to connect with others. You want to connect with the superstars, your favorites that come out. You want to connect and sing the theme songs together. You know, I feel like that, from my eyes and my lens, that's pretty damn important.
Okay. Dion, what's more important to you, connection and charisma, or in-ring work?
Oh, I'm going charisma and connection.
Okay.
I think about what really got me into liking wrestling. It was the personalities. Again, you grow up and you see the moves. You want a really good match, right? But I think in a few episodes before, The Rock's name got brought up from in-ring work perspective. But that's my favorite wrestler, so I loved him in every match because just in it, he could put, like, he's standing in the ring and the crowd goes wild just from the anticipation of what he's about to say. That's getting butts in seats and people through doors. And I know the people's elbow is what it is, but when you see that shot, when that camera pans out and everyone stands up, that's that connection. And even if it's not a 5-star match, I'm going to remember how The Rock sold. I'm going to remember how he did all of his moves with a certain flair, a certain charisma. Yeah, give me that. Give me that.
To piggyback of what you were saying, Dion, I feel like it's, you know, you want to leave that building with that feeling, that rush, that like, oh my God, that was so fun. I wish we could go back another hour and do it again. Like, that is very important. That's based on connection and feeling, you know, that's what causes us to do what we do here, because of our love for it and the connection we feel and how we relate to this thing that we love called wrestling and talking about it. So
yeah, because I think even Cody Rhodes has said like his favorite match is Hogan versus The Rock. And even John Cena said if you watch it with the sound off, it's not the greatest matches. I took his challenge, I did it. It didn't hold up that way. So but once we turn the sound on, you hear that crowd, you see the charisma from those two guys, and you're like, okay, this is why I enjoy wrestling like I do.
And not to mention pulling off a double turn successfully.
I know, right? I know.
Because the crowd went one way, you know, and they had to adjust.
Oh, I was still chanting Rocky, believe me.
Let's see. Courtney, charisma and connection or in-ring performance?
When I first started watching wrestling as a kid, it made me think of the in-ring stuff because it was just so exciting and just captivating it. But as time went on, it was just charisma and the microphone that really got me in tune. Because if you're good on the mic, you have that charisma, you have that connection with the fans and have that story, it just works out so flawlessly. And it's ironic, Dion, you mentioned The Rock. I had to go with Chris Jericho because it made me think of his charisma when he first came out. Because when he first came in WWE, and even now at AEW, the fans would go crazy over him, and even like having his promos and just really standing toe to toe. Even when he did his promo with The Rock, people were in their seats. And even going back to one of his matches in WWE when he had a match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 19, the storyline was there. So for me, it's really having that connection and getting people tuned in and drawn in, and it makes me go back to realize that's one of the reasons I became a wrestling fan.
So it's interesting to see, you know, what people like. I do think you know, we can really look at WWE and AEW, and one of their differences, AEW, you know, does not like the moniker of sports entertainment, and they try to give you more quote unquote pro wrestling. And, you know, you just in general, you can look at how people are responding to that. And I think a comment that came earlier was that the show's not entertaining. So I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. Because again, it is completely up to whatever your preference is, you know. But I do think that both of those things end up being, you know, a thing. And yes, as soon as we can get that intro loaded, sir, we will play it. He has been putting this over for the last 2 days. So as soon as we get it up, we will play it. But definitely a great. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, to y'all point with that though, everything y'all name and every person you named, that's something Trick has to work on. Even the people y'all said that don't really have necessarily more charisma than moves, look at all of who y'all just named. When they're in the ring, it still brings you in. John Cena, You Can't See Me, Hulk Hogan, or the Pump Up, or even to The Rock's point, the People's Elbow. I've not seen Trick do any of that.
I will counter that and say what he does that gets them is the whoop that trick.
Is the entrance.
Like
I blame the fans in Orlando for that.
Oh yeah, man.
No, I'm not going to say what section of fans. I think we know who they were, but I blame them for that.
Well, but I mean that's the thing. This is what's so interesting. Everybody has a different point of connection as wrestlers. For some, it is a move set that you might look forward to. For others, it is how they connect. And some, Hogan connected with the ear move, and some connect with poses. For him, it's an organic chant that has happened. And, so I think like when we saw Cena, his in-ring stuff will improve. I think he's got perhaps greater opportunity than Cena had, just because, well, no, Cena had OVW, but to have the performance center that you can go to and work 5 days a week, plus, if he's working, I don't know if he's working the live events that NXT has in Florida. I'm sure he is. Those are all great opportunities for them to be able to work their craft. So we'll see certainly how that works. But again, congratulations to him. Now, one of the things that happened Monday night, the last Monster Standing match, which was pretty incredible, to say the least. We also saw the return of Seth Rollins at the end of that match, which certainly caught me by surprise. Resulted in Braun Strowman winning the match. The ring got destroyed. Fans got knocked out. All kinds of craziness happened. But we can report that Braun Strowman did suffer an injury in that match, a groin injury, which just cannot be good. I don't know if you know, I noticed that he was walking kind of funny at certain points in that match, and I couldn't quite pinpoint how and why, but that is why.
I'm sorry, Professor. There was a certain moment in the match where he was gearing up to run the ropes, and as he was like heading towards hitting Bronson Reed, you saw him kind of like tweak a little bit, like I don't know how it happened, but it couldn't have looked good. I almost thought he tore his quad at first, but I was like, I don't know how this man is still moving at all, even with the groin injury itself.
Apparently, the injury happened when Bronson Reed hit him with Samoan drop.
Oh yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's again, it's hard to control your weight when you've got that much strength and that much power, and so best wishes there to Braun Strowman. So then today, Cody Rhodes made an appearance on the Pat McAfee show, and right before he left, he dropped two very interesting pieces of information. One, he alluded to the fact that at Bad Blood this weekend, a video will play, and the video will somehow have championship implications for Crown Jewel. Then he said that he's looking to main event WrestleMania for a third time, and he believes that the main event of WrestleMania will be something bigger than anyone has ever anticipated. So let's start here. What do you think is going to happen? This teaser, which I don't know if I'm disappointed or not that he's already mentioned the teaser, but what on earth could happen this weekend that will lead us into Crown Jewel? I will start there. Courtney, let's start with you.
There's a lot that could happen in Bad Blood, especially in their tag team match, him and Roman.
But what's the video? He alluded to a video. What do you think the video is going to be talking about? Because that's the key, according to him.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's his next opponent at Crown Jewel.
Who would be?
That's a good question. Who would be his opponent? Because I'm trying to think. He almost beat almost every single guy on the roster. And somebody put it in the chat. The Rock. Maybe?
Yep. It's my choice.
You think The Rock's going to Saudi?
Oh,
Remember, Crown Jewel is in Saudi.
That's right.
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
No.
This video is alluding to Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia.
There is a video that also came out after he was done with Pat McAfee that's been going around. Pat McAfee, I think, actually posted it. And after they're off the air from the interview, and he's shaking his hand, and before he shakes his hand, he was like, "I heard the big guy's coming on Friday," and he goes, "Which one?" Cody said, "Which one?" Big guy. There's only a few big guys that we know. And Crown Jewel, how many other big guys do you fit there that would be an opponent for the championship against Cody? As far as who, I mean, I know it's not the final boss. I know that. I don't want to say his name, but oh shoot. Is anybody else possibly on the same wavelength on another big guy that also used to run Crown Jewel in Saudi? If you could catch my drift, a very, very larger than life beast. I mean, dare I say, could it be?
Are we thinking really?
Cryback, not Cryback.
No.
Hilarious.
Bring Goldberg back.
Don't say Goldberg. Please don't say Goldberg. Anybody but Goldberg. But I mean, we're not going to go with the tribal chief. The tribal chief, that's an obvious given. I think they're going to wait for a while for that to go down. But could it be a certain Brock Lesnar? I mean, that's just, I can't help but think that that's a name that popped in my head.
Any other thoughts on who that could be?
I got one, and I don't know why y'all just skipped. It's gonna be Joe Hendry versus Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. Because I believe
Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I do.
Yeah, but also the one other person, if it's not Brock, Kenny from Spirit Squad. Yep,
he's a producer, baby.
Yeah, he's the producer.
We don't want Cody to lose, though, Dylan. We don't want Cody to lose.
He had a hell of a leg drop, man.
You know
I like Kenny.
Could it potentially be Cena?
That's what I was thinking. When you say big guy.
Yeah.
Interesting though, because his tour isn't supposed to start until 2025. So.
But that's the farewell tour.
Correct.
And if I'm thinking of getting the title match out the way, so that way you can do all the stuff you want in 2025 and not have Cody tied up, that could be a good kickoff to it. I'm also just thinking from a TKO standpoint. So, and then maybe somebody can also keep up with it. Like, they want to keep like this Saudi deal very happy and lucrative. So who would make the most sense, and who would Saudi want to come out for this to face Cody Rhodes?
I'm trying to think of larger than life people, like big.
Yeah, there's no one.
Omar.
It's gonna be Great Khali. It's gonna be Great Khali versus Cody Rhodes.
Oh my God, not Great Khali.
In a Punjabi prison match for the title.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy. Oh.
But then there's like implications for WrestleMania too, right? Because he teased that.
So let's get into that. And he's saying it's a match. The main event will be something bigger than anyone has anticipated. Now, we've anticipated quite a few things. Dion, since you started it, what could he be referencing as the main event of WrestleMania 41?
Well, in a past show, I did say my WrestleMania main event will be Cody versus Rock, but you can't leave Roman out of it either. So how do you make that match big? Triple threats are tough for WrestleMania.
It's 2 nights, though.
It's 2 nights. Yeah, I keep forgetting 2 nights. Hold on. Okay. But you think, okay, I'm gonna stick with my one night idea because going in 2 nights it gets too confusing for me. Or gets I book it too much. But no, there's an idea for a triple threat, right? Rock, Roman, Cody. I mean, we'll see where that new bloodline goes if that's the final boss pulling the strings on that one. So that's the only thing I can think of including The Rock in it in some sort of singles capacity for that championship.
Could it be Randy at Crown Jewel?
He is 290 now.
You don't need.
He is 290 now.
Orton and Cody at Crown Jewel actually does not sound like a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
But then he said he'll be here on Friday, right? So, oh man, speculations. So,
Friday isn't necessarily bad blood.
I don't know if he do it though, but Batista is also a big guy.
He ain't big no more. Have you seen him in interviews?
I know not no more.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he. I'm just trying to think who like
Bob Holly.
Hey, listen. I love you, man. Ken Shamrock. That's who it's gonna be. My boy Ken Shamrock coming back.
Well, we've got multiple guessing games here. Apparently, we're still trying to figure out who the big guy is. Who is Cody's opponent at Crown Jewel and WrestleMania? So let's see if we can land on the WrestleMania. What do you think we're looking at there?
As far as WrestleMania goes, for a main event, something that will really pop, maybe for your first night main event. I mean, but does it have to? All right, let me ask: does it have to be does there have to be a title involved?
Could be anything, because I don't know what they're considering to be the biggest or the thing that we don't see coming. Though I have a very interesting idea.
I don't think anybody would see coming something involving Stone Cold and something that's never happened before but been hinted at possibly. I mean, Cena is doing a retirement tour next year. We've never ever seen Cena versus Stone Cold, two of the biggest superstars in history on somebody's Mount Rushmore. I think that would be absolutely insane. Me personally.
To your point, honey, that might lead to now Civil War. So if we thinking of it, let's not even think just a main event, just one match on the line. What if it is like an 8-man tag? Rock, Roman, 2 other big names from the past that go along, and now it's Cody, or it's Cody, Cena, Stone Cold, and then like one more. It's like the best, from all eras. Like you got one from the gold and a few from the attitude and the ones now. And with the people on like the Rock side, that's a Samoan family. Even Dustin can make an appearance.
True. Wow. That would be crazy.
And it goes back to his music. Wrestling has more than one royal family.
I like the way you think. I like the way you think. That's dope. Dope. That's dope.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very, very interesting.
Who knows where we're gonna be by then?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like we don't know where we're gonna be at by the time we get to WrestleMania.
Yes.
We have a lot of ground to cover. So we're going to try to move quickly because I know they want to be done at a certain time. And we've got a watch along happening at the top of the hour. I have to address this, though. Timeless Tony Storm, who we have not seen in AEW since All in London, has been on a bit of an excursion, popped up in Japan over at Stardom. And in a conversation with Mayu Iwatani, dropped a bombshell on the world that nobody necessarily knew, but it came up in a press conference as she told the world that she had a 3-month affair with Stan Hansen. And in there, she mentioned that he gave her great advice and then afterwards hit her with a lariat. What a great and stunning admission from Timeless Tony Storm. Nobody even gets this. This is great. We're just going to move right along because it's impossible for her to have had a physical affair with Stan Hansen. But it's just the beauty of Timeless Tony Storm. Nobody knows who Stan Hansen is, apparently. So
No, I
that's
do. No, I do. I'm just
yeah.
like, you climb that 75-year-old man like
I had
when
to read
did
it
this
like 3
happen?
times. Like I had to read it 3 times. Like, wait, did I read that right?
Yeah, like did
Oh,
I
yeah.
read the like?
It's-
Are we
it's-
talking about the same person? The one with the
It's-
bell and the rope? Like
To me,
the
this
cowboy?
is the beauty of Timeless Tony Storm. I mean, she has embodied this Timeless Tony Storm piece in such an incredible way. And I mean, from challenging Wendy Richter to having an affair with Stan Hansen. I mean, and this really is one of the beautiful things that has come out of 5 years of AEW, which we celebrate tonight. AEW Dynamite 5-year anniversary. Before we get into these matches, I do briefly oh gosh, this dude, this is hilarious. Before I almost wore my Stan Hansen shirt just for that story.
Listen,
But
if Elvis could be a fan of Hogan, hey, why not Timeless Tony? Why not?
there you go.
Yeah.
So before we get into this card for the 5-year episode of Dynamite, very, very quickly, can we go through kind of one standout moment over 5 years of Dynamite for each of us? I know Courtney probably has 15, but we only need one because we're trying to give her a chance to get a drink of water or something before her watch along tonight. So, Courtney, let's start with you. Do you... Jesus, sorry. Jeffrey.
That's good.
That's a good one, sir.
That's good.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Well done, Jeffrey. Well,
Comment of the day right there.
So, for those who are listening, Jeffrey has said, and I quote, apparently Stan's horses still gallop. Courtney, your favorite or one of your standout moments from Dynamite?
There's many, but there's one particular moment that actually got me into AEW personally. And it was not Chris Jericho. It was not Orange Cassidy. And it was not the Acclaim that got me into AEW. I don't know if you can see this, but this particular woman got me into AEW, and her name is Toni Storm. A little story that I shared a few of this. I didn't share with everybody, but 2022 back in March, and this is when everybody was starting to come out of it, there was a meet and greet in Philadelphia. And I got to meet so many wrestlers when I saw as a kid. I got to meet Bret Hart, Matt and Jeff Hardy, Ivory, Mickie James, and Victoria. In particular, I got to meet Toni Storm, who at that time was released from WWE at that time. And she didn't have anybody coming to her table, but I knew who she was. So I went over to her table and we chatted for a little bit, but not getting fully into the nitty gritty about her release. So I had an autograph, I had a photo, and I told her that she definitely is going to find somewhere that she's going to work well in. So I gave her a hug and I went off my way. Few days later, she debuted on AEW. And that was the reason why it hooked me into AEW. And because of Toni Storm, I am very grateful that to this day, I still get to watch AEW. And it was just so amazing seeing her journey from her debut to the Outcast to now Timeless Era. So it has been a fun ride. And also, I'm just grateful because honestly, if I didn't meet her, I probably would have not gotten into AEW. So I give kudos to her. Happy 5 years. And this was definitely something that is very personal for me, and I'm very proud of to this day.
Work, Courtney.
Professor, all I heard was Courtney is the reason we got timeless Tony Storm.
Okay, so I promised I was gonna say that, but if I said it, it would have sounded some kind of way. So
I'm riding with that. Like, this is all. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you for giving us one of the best characters AEW. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney.
Yes, thank you so much, Courtney, because she is phenomenal.
She's timeless.
Dion, your favorite moment from Dynamite over the last?
That's hard to top, man. Like, come on,
it really is. Like,
so I haven't watched a lot of AEW.
I have a couple favorites.
So I would love to give my time back to Courtney, but I have a question. So Courtney, I have a question. As someone who hasn't watched AEW like religiously like this for 5 years, what moment in 5 years would you suggest that I go back and look at?
There are many moments. I would probably say when Hikaru Shida beat Saraya for the women's title. That was a shocker. For some odd reason, it was a match that I don't think a lot of people saw coming. And I don't think a lot of people didn't think she would win. Grand Slam. I know this is Grand Slam and it was on Dynamite, but I would probably say the Acclaimed versus Swerve and Keith Lee. That match was a little bit insane. Recently, the match that I just watched is MJF versus Will Ospreay for the international title. Pretty much any match that Orange Cassidy was international champion, because that man was a fighting champion. He was a fighting champion.
That's a good one.
He was.
Perfect. I wrote all these down, by the way, Courtney, so I will take a look at these.
Yes.
I'll throw a very quick suggestion, 2 quick suggestions. One of them is the debut of Sting. And the other would be the debut of Kazuchika Okada. They both were some pretty cool moments that happened there. Let's see. All right, we are desperately running out of time. So very quickly, tonight on Dynamite, they've really stacked this card. A champion versus champion match. Bryan Danielson, Kazuchika Okada, a rematch from Forbidden Door. The key here is it's title for title. However, it's a 60-minute time limit match. But if the match is decided in the first 20 minutes, then the Continental title will be on the line. If the match goes longer than 20 minutes, then the Continental title is not on the line. So clearly we'll have to pay attention to what the time limit is on that. Hangman Adam Page takes on Juice Robinson tonight. Serena Deeb takes on the return of Dr. Britt Baker. And then this one.
Oh, my Lord.
Ospreay, Ricochet, the International Championship. They are going crazy tonight on AEW Dynamite. So it should be very celebratory. They've got the new deal, 5 years of Dynamite. Should be a lot of great moments. So definitely check out AEW Dynamite tonight if you get the opportunity. All right. And there's some really cool suggestions over in the chat as well, including this one. Let me see. Sting, Brody Lee. Yeah, they did a good job with Brody Lee over there.
Anything
as well.
Brody Lee.
Brody Lee's TNT title run for sure. Yeah, let's see. All right. So let's see how we can find all of the good people. Said, how can the people find you, sir?
As usual, I don't want to be found. I want justice.
I knew that was going to be. I knew it.
But
I knew it.
What I will request from the rest of the panel here is send those picks in for Saturday's PLE Bad Blood, so I can get this article off.
Good reminder. Good reminder. Dion, how can they find you, sir?
Yeah, over on All Star Fandom Show on TikTok and Instagram, and over on YouTube as well. Will PCW's coming back tonight, so make sure you tune in for that. I'll send you an invite. But yeah, other than that, just over there, fandoming it up, man. If that makes any sense.
Awesome.
That's a word. That's a word.
There it is. There it is. Councilman, how can they find you, sir?
You can find me at the Immortal Pereziacs across all socials, YouTube and Twitch. That's it. Just continue to bow down to the greatest women's champion and the best in the world, Roxanne Perez. And yeah, you can't none of y'all say nothing. Can't nobody say nothing up past that.
Not today.
Nothing. Can't tell me no. Can't say nothing right now. And I'm finna ride this high until Friday when y'all gonna humbly bring me back down.
Honey, how can they find you?
You guys can find me here Monday, Wednesday, Fridays with the WWT Live crew. You can occasionally find me over in Wyatt Six City, but I might dip my toe into Pop Rock City because I heard it's really popping over there right now. And every Friday, I got the Honey Night SmackDown Watch Along. I will be on later tonight for the Mr. McMahon Watch Along, episode 5. It's gonna be a lot of tea, so make sure you bring some and get your snacks. And yep, Wrestling with Honey TikTok, Wrestling with Honey Instagram, Facebook Wrestling W Honey, and like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Wrestling with Honey podcast on YouTube is coming. It's coming.
Awesome sauce. Courtney, how can they find you?
They can find me here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I am actually doing double duty tonight, where you can catch me here 5 years of Dynamite tonight, and also on the Mr. McMahon documentary. Get your tea, get your candy. It's going to be fun. You can also find me in timeless Tinseltown.
Come on now. Come on now.
Timeless Tinseltown.
Yes, you will find me there.
I'm trying to get a ticket right now.
That sounded like something else. I got nervous.
I know.
I got so nervous.
Oh my God.
We know what we heard.
I was like,
timeless.
I'm like, what'd you say? And
But
it
you
was
can-
like, oh.
Tinsel. But you can find me on Instagram and Twitter on @CourtneyNJ11 on my latest adventures into wrestling, pageantry, and all the cool stuff that I'm doing.
very, very good. And again, you can catch Courtney tonight for the watch along right at the top of the hour. Also, stick around because following that watch along will be the watch along for Mr. McMahon episode 5. And I've been hearing so many amazing things. So you want to check that out. So briefly, you can find me at Bonnerfied across all the socials. Just dropped a new video stemming from that Mr. McMahon documentary, really digging into this idea. What if Mr. McMahon's initial idea about launching WWE happened? Meaning, what if he had gone with Dusty Rhodes instead of Hulk Hogan? Got that video up. You guys can go check that out. Lots of commentary out there on a lot of spaces, most recently with Ashe Wrestling. And then we've got another one coming, actually a few things on the way. Southern Honor, their anniversaries next week. Then following that will be in the Bahamas with All Caribbean Wrestling. And there's just a lot of things that are going on. So you guys can check that out. Also, and I don't plug this enough, but if you'd like to support with some merch, you guys can check out my merch line over at prowrestlingtees.com/Bonnerfied. 2 shirts there that you guys will enjoy. So go ahead, check that out, prowrestlingtees.com/Bonnerfied. Now to the rest of the business here. www.talkpod.com is the website for all of the cool things. www.talkpod across all of the socials to check out all that's happening in these spaces. Again, lots of shows, watch alongs, all of the things. And we've got, I think, one of the best crews in the world who come on here all the time to give you guys all of the great information. So shout out to our amazing team here, everybody that you see on screen and then some. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Cousin Ron, Special Little Nobodies, Jeffrey, Boza, Christopher LeClaire, good to see you. Of course, Dylan and Bo Said So. I like that name. That's pretty cool. A lot of other people have been in here. Lots of folks who aren't in the chat, but who are watching across all of these spaces. We appreciate you guys because we can't do what we do unless you are here. It just doesn't hit the same. So until the next time we're together, which will be Friday. Actually, you don't have to wait that long because Courtney will still be here at the top of the hour. Many of the crew will be here. We might work on that particular shirt. I'm thinking of another design anyway. So, yeah, the rest of the crew, of course, will be here tonight for the watch along. So check it all out as part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.